The title is true. I had Google's Gemini program help me plan this episode. That means I planned this episode with AI. Before you scroll away or stop watching or listening, this is still my original content. And I do think there's a delicate balance that we walk when we're trying to make sure that we maintain intellectual property and copyrights of our content, and that it's actually us, that we maintain our brand voice and our originality, our creativity, and get things faster with the help of things like AI and automation. Are you ready? Because this is going to be a mini masterclass of what's working on Instagram in 2024, and I'm sharing how to make that more possible and doable using AI tools. This is just a preview of some of the things we're going to be talking about if you're listening in real time tomorrow at Brittany Long's masterclass all about AI. It's happening at 9 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Mountain, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 p.m. Eastern. So if you are watching or listening in real time, make sure you check out the episode description for the link to register, or go and check your inbox if you're already on my email list. I can't wait to see you in there where we really are going to dive into this stuff, because Brittany Long is just a master with all things AI for business. But in this episode, this video, you're going to walk away with a really good idea of what's actually working right now on Instagram in 2024, because honestly, most everything I've been finding is outdated. I'm even going to show you how what you're finding on Google is outdated using the help of AI. Let's get into it. When we're talking about using AI tools to create content, come up with ideas and all that, there's a big difference between using it as a co-pilot and an editor and having it do all of the work for you. We don't want to outsource our ideas and our brain power. We want to use AI tools to refine it and to quicken that process. And that's what I really did here. So what I'm going to do now is show you my first set of search results I got by using the free Google Gemini tool, which you can use too. If you just go to gemini.google.com, I'm not sponsored or anything, although Google, if you're listening, I'm open to it. And you can just use it to ask questions, and you can actually see the prompts I use exactly on my screen. So I asked for Google's Gemini free AI version tool to tell me what are the top 10 trends on Instagram right now. I am on Instagram a lot. I'm doing work for clients. I'm on there for my own brands. I'm on there talking to you all. I have a really good finger on the pulse when it comes to trends, and I actually know what's trending already. But I was curious to know, what would Google tell you? Because I know that so many of you are wondering these things, and I want to make sure that you're getting good information. This is why it is so important that we have to check our sources and really pay attention to who we're watching and who we're listening to when it comes to who we're learning from, because we can't just use Google itself as a source. And I think we know that as current and former teachers. Like, we even teach our students, Google is not a source, Wikipedia is not a source. You need to figure out the original sources. That's kind of a mini side lesson to this. Having better prompts, and also in general asking better questions, yields better answers and therefore better results. So I asked, what are the top 10 trends on Instagram right now for high performing posts? I even misspelled that. And it gave me these answers. I'll read them out in case you're listening. Focus on video, so reels, replying with reels, which is a really good thing. And then challenges, participating in challenges. I was like, that's like 10 years old. I wouldn't really be doing that anymore. Content with personality, authenticity is key, showing behind the scenes, engagement strategies, showing up live, telling stories, optimizing reach using hashtags, using the explore page, and AI inspiration. I was immediately disappointed by some of these results because they're outdated. There are still elements of these things that are real, right? Obviously, reels are still very much relevant. I'm a big fan of going live at least once a week, ideally at the same time and same day every week, so people can get used to showing up. By the way, I'm going to be going live regularly soon. Look out for that, and follow me at Brittany Verlenich on Instagram if you're not already. Or if you're watching this here on YouTube, you can go ahead and click subscribe, click like, and hit that little bell so that you never miss notifications of when a new video is posted. And if you're watching this on the Spotify app or some other podcast app that magically lets you see video, make sure you're following me there too so you don't miss new episodes. Okay, with all that out of the way, I wanted to give it a better prompt so I could get a better answer because I wasn't satisfied with these results. So I said, these are outdated. Search the web to give me more relevant answers. When I saw what they gave me here, it looked very general, almost like what I would get from the free version of ChatGPT. Well, when I had a better prompt, I scrolled down and you see how there's these highlights here. So the green highlight with the little caret, that's a little arrow pointing down. When you click on it, it expands and gives you the source, which is really good for you to know, because not all sources are made equal. This is from the Hootsuite app, which is a social media scheduling tool. So pretty relevant source when we're talking about social media content and what's working. I wouldn't hold as much weight there. And then down here, SEO for Instagram. When I click that one, I see later.com. Later is another tool that's a partner with Instagram. A somewhat credible source. But see, that's why it's so important that we know these things. However, the replies were great. And Google Gemini itself even said, you're right, trends on social media move fast. Let's look at some even fresher Instagram trends for 2024. And these are what I'm I'm really interested in, and this is what I'm going to be diving into with you today. Before I switch to a webcam view, I just wanted to scroll through these in case you are watching on the video. I wanted you to see what that looked like because this is a free tool that everybody has access to that you can go use right now. And the Google Gemini AI tool is getting better all the time. I even like that you can click on the modify response. You can make the response shorter, longer, simpler, more casual, more professional. Let's actually play with a couple of these now. So I can click shorter and it gives me more bulleted lists with fewer headings. Really great if you're short on time. Maybe you want it to be longer and have more in-depth information. Isn't that great? You could even use this, by the way. I know we're talking about content here, but you could even use this with your products if you're trying to differentiate reading levels and you're not trusting what you're getting as far as output from ChatGPT. This might be the answer for you. I can make it more professional. If you are still in the classroom or if you still do have a full-time job and you're trying to figure out how to respond to bosses or emails, really good tool for that. Or maybe you're a full-time seller and you're trying to figure out how to respond to Q&As, to customer emails or anything without losing it, because I know it can be really hard to not react emotionally. Use this as a tool. But I know that you're watching and listening today because you're most interested in how you can use this for your social media and marketing content. So of course, we're going to focus on that first. I know that usually these are the types of episodes that come at the beginning of the year when we're looking at what's happening right now or at the end of the year, but I really think we need to do this now because things are changing so quickly that I want to make sure you have tools that are actually working for you right now. Before I really talk about what's working, we first have to have a disclaimer. Depending on the kind of account you have on Instagram, and by kind of account here, I don't mean personal versus creator versus business account. I mean more so, what is your business model? Like, how do you actually make money? And what are your goals on Instagram? Those two things are going to be intrinsically linked. That is going to drastically affect the type of strategy you have. There are two main routes you can really go on Instagram. You can go the creator route, or you can go the business route. With that in mind, all creators are business owners and all business owners are creators. That's why the waters get a little bit muddied and it gets kind of confusing. And personally, I think everybody should have a business account on Instagram. You just get better metrics and data for a longer period of time. With all the music copyright, intellectual property things in the past couple of months, it really doesn't matter anymore if you have a creator account or a business account. You always have to be careful of who owns the rights to the music and sounds that you use. Okay, so once you know whether you're a creator or business owner, and if you're not sure, you can ask yourself these questions. How do I make money? Creators tend to make money by working with brands. They get brand deals, sponsored posts. They get paid to create content, either for the brand themselves to use in their own marketing materials, even their own ads, or the brand is paying the influencer to create the content for their platform because they want to get in front of their audience. Now, that said, business owners do sometimes do sponsored posts and brand deals, and sometimes they still do affiliate marketing and things like that. And sometimes a business owner will create content for a company to use. I'm not saying that they're exclusive. However, it's the bulk of their income. If you haven't done this already, I highly recommend doing a tracking sheet and really just paying attention to where your money's coming from. I'm actually in the middle of a 45-day experiment right now with my income. I'm super excited about it. I'm trying to see if I can make $10,000 in 45 days. If you want to follow along on that journey, you'll find all that information down in the episode description, the video description if you're here on YouTube. And that girl I talked about earlier on in the video, Brittany Long, by the way, we actually did an episode together. If you scroll back, I think it's episode 20 or so, and we talked about all the different ways you can use ChatGPT for content creation. Of course, we're focusing specifically on Instagram today, but you could go listen to that episode, and if you're into that, or even if you're not into that, but you're interested in using AI in an ethical way that helps you make content better and faster, then you definitely want to be at the free class tomorrow. 9 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Mountain, 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern. And if you haven't registered for that yet, again, it's totally free. You can find that in the episode description as well, along with the experiment, because those two things are related, right? I'm in her membership mastermind, AI to 100K, and that is where I started doing the experiment. I actually started playing before we were doing an official challenge, but now I just made it official. I'm doing the experiment along other people. So you can come join in if you want. Even if you don't join the membership, I actually made a copy for you that you can grab, and that's yours as a gift. You have to make that first decision. Are you more of a creator and you're going to do mostly brand deals and maybe some affiliate marketing and maybe you create some UGC content for brands? Or are you going to be a business owner with your own products, your own services, your own deliverables? There's no right or wrong answer. And like I said, choosing one doesn't mean that you can't do the other ones, but it's just where is the bulk of your income coming from? Because that's also going to dictate what kind of content you create, how often do you release content. For example, if you're a TPT seller or an Etsy seller, which I'm guessing most of you are, you likely have a website, but just because you have a website, that doesn't mean that you're a blogger. right? Even if you have blog posts, you might have a website that's very much evergreen and static. So maybe you only have 12 blog posts and those are the only posts that are ever going to be on there and you don't plan to make more. There's no right or wrong here. It's just a completely different model. Whereas on the other end, maybe you don't have any products of your own, but you have a website and you regularly release 1 to 2 to 3 or more blog posts per week because you're constantly creating new content and you're monetizing your website with ads and affiliate links. Two completely separate models. Creators, of course, have businesses and business owners are creators. But once you know what your main business model is and what your core income streams are, then it becomes so much easier to know what kind of content to focus on and how often to create content. It's going to affect your whole strategy. Basically, if you are a creator, and I'm sorry if I switch around, I'm trying to keep creator on this side, business owner on this side. If you are on the creator camp over here, then you're probably going for views and followers. Here's why. Like I said, creators do have a business and they do need to grow their email list and they do need to sell products from time to time. But if they're going to be working with brands, they want to show brands that they have reach, especially if they don't have many followers themselves. If they can get their videos in front of hundreds of thousands or even millions of people, that is going to command a higher price per content versus if they can just get it in front of hundreds or thousands. However, if you're over here in the business owner camp, you might not really care about getting in front of hundreds of thousands or even millions of people, and your business model might not be able to handle that. Instead, you have different goals. Instead of caring about views and followers, you might care more about click-throughs, like people actually going to your website, going to your email list, going and clicking on your products, and sales. So it's very different, right? Views and followers, leads and sales. Creators care more about views and followers. Business owners care more about leads and sales. Again, not right or wrong. It's good to have all of those things, but they're completely different goals and that's going to affect what you do. Now that you know which camp you're in, then you can really create a strategy. If you're a creator on this camp over here, my goal for you is really simple. Create loads more content. You probably are not creating enough. And honestly, that's for most people. You don't even know what kind of content really works until you have enough data to test. But especially because content is your product, you're going to have to create even way more than the business owners over here. So perhaps you're a teacher who you're creating TikTok videos and you've built a little bit of a following there and you're having brands reach out to you or you've been reaching out to brands. And maybe you also have a TBT store, but most of your money is coming from brand deals. You're a creator, own it. Go that route. Just start creating more content, figure out what your audience responds to and create more of that. Oversimplify, yes, but that's really the goal. Now, this podcast and this brand is primarily for people in the business owner camp, the people who maybe don't really enjoy social media from the beginning. My goal, of course, is to change that, but I also want to make sure that it's profitable for you. So you really need to be focusing on leads and sales. And leads are just people who are interested in buying your stuff in the future. With the business model, I'm just going to go over those again as far as how you make money. So traffic and ads is usually a creator thing, but business owners can have that too. And that is something you might want to consider if you already have a website. And if you are creating content on there semi-regularly, then yeah, it might make sense to go ahead and try to get your website onto a network like Mediavine, like Raptive, so you can make money from ads too, because why not? Why not get an extra couple thousand a month? Same thing with YouTube. Maybe you have a YouTube channel so you can demonstrate your products or help teachers. Well, why not grow that YouTube channel to where it can be monetized, right? In that sense, you would also be relying on advertising revenue. The number 2 revenue stream is product sales. If we're TPT and Etsy sellers, that one's pretty cut and dry. We understand what that means. If you're in the influencer camp over here, you might not be selling your own products and you might technically be doing affiliate marketing, especially if you're an affiliate for things on like TikTok Shop. Number 3 is brand deals. I kind of mentioned that already, but that's basically when a company pays you either to post on your feed or to create content that you don't post, but that they get to use. Number 4 is affiliate marketing. That's when someone buys something through your link and you earn a commission or a portion of that sale at no extra cost to them. I do a lot of affiliate marketing, and if you're on my email list or even if you just go and check out my video description or my episode description, you'll see those links there. They're all for great things I personally use and I recommend, but I get a small commission at no extra cost to you, right? And so it supports me. It's something I believe will support you. And there's things you can do for your own audience, tools you can share, subscriptions, different apps that they can use. There's all kinds of things for every single audience. And then number 5 is services. So maybe you have some kind of service to offer. I also didn't mention this on here. There's also courses and memberships, and that kind of falls under digital products, although they really are their own thing. But they also kind of fall under services depending on what it is. With that, you're still going for leads and sales, but you're really trying to get them to maybe book a call with you or to submit a form. And in that sense, usually you want to get people to either send you a DM or to click on a link. So again, we're still kind of going for link clicks, leads and sales at the end of the day. is what it is for most of us. Now that we have that out of the way, we have an understanding of what our business models are, or at least we're starting to, and we know what kind of account we're really here for. Now we can really start on the actual content. So let's talk about what's working right now. Short form video. Of course, short form video is the best for discoverability. This is how people come to find you. However, remember your goals. If you want for them to get onto your email list and to buy your stuff, your main call to action is for them to either DM you, go to the link in your bio, which some people still do. I did a little poll the other day. Some people are still going to your bio, to comment with a keyword, and then you will either respond back to them manually in the DMs with whatever link they're going to click. Again, they're still going to that link, or with a keyword that will get you to lead to a DM conversation. Either way, you're leading to a sales conversation. If you are in the influencer camp, then you're trying to get as many views as possible so you can go to brands and say, hey, look at this. I have videos getting millions of views. But you can do so much. On top of just the reel editing things, which I'm not going to go into that today. We're just doing high level strategy today. You can do so much with reels. So when you post a reel, you might have noticed you get that little notification asking if you want to send it to your friends. Now, I don't advise sending it to everybody. That can come off really spammy, but maybe there is a group of people who would benefit from hearing or watching that. Maybe it would make sense for you to send it to them. You really get to think about that, and you get to choose Instagram however you like, because it's your own tool. Don't forget about responding to comments with reels either. I love that feature. I think that's something that made TikTok really popular with people, is they really feel like they're heard and part of the content creation process when you respond to somebody's comment with a brand new reel. Like, wow, what a way to show that you're really listening and watching and that you care. So consider that. If you're really thinking about what kind of content to create, maybe once you start getting people commenting and replying, you can start responding to what they say, and then you'll really start to see those conversations happen. Another fun take is live streaming, but even more than that, live shopping. We've probably all seen those QVC things in the middle of the night when we were kids. And if you're younger, you're probably like, what is that? But basically, it's just people buying things in real time. I mean, sometimes you see this with direct sales companies. Some woman will be selling jewelry and she'll be holding it up. That's a version of it, but you can also demonstrate your products with this. Maybe you're showing your teachers how to do something specific. Maybe you're showing them how to use manipulatives. So you have the camera pointing down and you show them in real time what you're doing. And this is such an amazing gift because so many teachers don't get to be in the classroom with other teachers seeing them teach. You can do that on social media. What a gift we have to do that, right? So use this as a way to do fun product demos. You can host live Q&As. I'm a big fan of having a weekly live show, especially if you can't keep up with the traditional types of long form content like a podcast or a YouTube channel or a blog. Okay, story time with cliffhangers. I'm a big fan of having a series. A series is just multiple pieces of content that come after each other. I mean, look at what's going on right now with Bridgerton. If you're watching or listening in real time, Bridgerton is another masterclass in marketing all in itself. I mean, they're doing such an amazing job. They basically just released the same season twice with a part 1 and a part 2. Honestly, it's incredible. They're doing such a good job with that, and we can learn from them. Another really good example is Who TF Did I Marry on TikTok. I mean, she's getting all these cool opportunities all because of really quality storytelling. And by quality, it doesn't mean that the video quality is perfect. It's actually not if you go watch it, but the storytelling is so good and the story is so compelling that you can't stop watching or listening. That's the kind of content that we need to be thinking about and creating. So how can you create that for your people? And I'm a huge fan of just making everything conversational anyway. So this is kind of like the next one, is like talking back and collaborating. I already mentioned replying to comments with a reel and using what they ask and say to make content, but you can do the same in your stories too. When you post a poll or when you do a question box, are you sharing their responses? Are you using the responses they say to create new content? Also, it really makes you look like an authority when you say something like, I've been talking to people about X, or I've been talking to students and clients, or I've been talking with my followers about XYZ. It really makes you look more professional because it shows you're actually taking the time to investigate whatever it is that you're talking about. You can use user-generated content too, by the way. So this next one is the trend of real people. Influencers and creators, a lot of times they're going to companies and positioning themselves as the people that people look to buy things, right? That's what an influencer is, quote unquote. It's someone who is trying to get somebody to make a buying decision. But guess what? Business owners, we do the same thing. We're trying to help people make a buying decision. So you can also utilize user-generated content. And this is how you do this. You go to these influencer types. Usually you have to offer something for payment. Many people will say, well, I'm giving them a product. And it's like, okay, but if the product is $3 or $7, you're going to ask for someone to make you a video video that can bring you possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's not likely a fair exchange. You need to think about what is actually going to be fair to the other person. One big trend is that imperfect is the new perfect. I will say that Instagram is still an aesthetic platform. We want for things to look nice there. It's just how it is. It's not the same as TikTok. It's not the same as Facebook. However, it's becoming less important, especially as we consider that people are consuming content in different ways. They're not just going to people's feeds anymore. In fact, stories are the most viewed piece of content on Instagram. Adam Mosseri, the head of Instagram, just shared this on his page the other day. When you think about how people are discovering content, it's not all just through scrolling, right? People are sending each other reels and posts, and there's no algorithm there. So if you can get really creative and start thinking about how can you use Instagram more like a messaging app, because Adam Mosseri also said that's where Instagram is going. We're moving away from trying to get in front of as many people as possible to having really centered communities. And I think that trend is going to continue to where we have many closed communities where everybody's in their own little worlds, their own little bubbles. So we're going to have even more of that, right? We're going to have people in group chats. We're going to have closed communities where people all know each other. I think that's really, really important for you to consider so you can kind of be ahead of the game so that you don't get blindsided by this next big change, because many of us were blindsided by the TikTokification of social media, moving from having a follower, subscriber-based platform to viewer-based. But I think viewer-based is already going away 4 years later and we're evolving to something else. And that's just part of being a business owner. We have to constantly be aware of change and innovate. This next one, I love this trend of being a change maker. It's a little bit cheesy when you say it like that, but it really is so true. Think about what you really believe in and what you stand for. What are your values? And I feel like brand values get talked about a little bit too much at a high level. I mean practically. So one thing we did with my travel business, because I found that these values like community and change and positivity, they're just too esoteric. So what I did was I actually have brand value statements, and actually I'm going to take a minute and show those to you. So I just find this setup to be way more useful. Instead of picking these random one-off words that I may or may not use in daily life that often, I just thought of it as what will I do and what will I not do. There's this really great video. He has this idea of make your values hurt a little. And that is such a good way to say it, because if you really do believe in something, you're willing to turn down money and opportunities in order to live out that value because it's something you do truly believe. I had to put these into statements that I really thought about. What would I be willing to take pain from? Pain in the sense of missing opportunities, missing money, losing followers, having people write me mean emails. What do I actually believe? And so I put these into two sections of what we do and what we don't do. And this is with my travel business, so again, a little different, but this is for the traveling teachers community. So let me start with what we do. And how I did it was I had a statement and then I put a little tagline below that to clarify. 1, pay everyone well. We're enriching lives worldwide. And I believe that. 2, we go where we're wanted and needed. We decide on and discover new destinations. And what's the opposite of that? We don't go to places that are over touristed. 3, we help teachers develop personally. We're not just teachers. 4, we get out of our comfort zones. We seek discomfort we know will grow. 5, we prioritize people over profits. We earn more ethically together. That's a big one for me. 6, we keep costs low for teachers. We have aligned partnerships, strategic sponsorships, and revenue streams like grants to offset costs. Now, I could have just as easily said that we prioritize service and I want to have a luxury service, but that's not what I really believe in. That's why I had to make a business model decision based on that value, and therefore how I market, how I get partnerships is different. I took what we do and then I just made the opposite of what we don't do, right? So if we pay everyone well, we don't pay as little as possible because we believe fair pay knows no borders. If we go where we're wanted and needed, then we don't contribute to over-tourism, which means we go off the beaten path and we choose that instead of tourist traps. Now, could that hurt me? Maybe. Because will people want to go to Greece if they don't go to Santorini? I don't know. We'll see. But also, I think about for the teacher world, there might be something you really do believe in that's a little bit controversial or polarizing, or something that really sets you apart. Those are going to be the things you want to highlight and talk about in your content. I also say that we help teachers develop personally, not professional development, although I know some amazing other people who do that. Shout out to Alyssa from Teacher on a Trip. She has awesome PD trips if you're an earth science teacher. Since we get out of our comfort zones, we don't travel in thoughtless luxury. We care about locals, other people in the communities we're visiting. Because we prioritize people over profits, we do not prioritize profits over people. We pick partners with integrity, and we keep costs low for teachers. We could charge more, but we're not going to charge more just because we can. We also won't give less value just because trips are more affordable. So I think that doing this exercise is really helpful, even if you're not going to put your values outwardly on a website or something, just for you to get a real sense of clarity on who you are, what you want to say in the online space. What do you believe? What does your business model actually look like? What are you going to do for creating content? It's going to help you make decisions. It's going to help you refine that decision-making filter. So I would highly recommend doing this if you haven't already. And I'm always keeping this in mind for all the brands, all the niche sites and things I have is how can I more clearly articulate and make sure I understand what I truly believe and what I want to say? Because also how you approach your content is different. And I'll be sure to talk about the different personas and how that comes across in content in a future episode. We also want to be search savvy in our content. So after you listen to this episode, definitely listen to the next one with Nita Clapperton because she's going to talk all about SEO. And we talked about how SEO is not an independent thing anymore, right? It's related to AI, it's related to email list building, it's related to social media and creating your community. And technically, social media is becoming more linked with SEO, especially when you consider something like TikTok. People aren't just using Google to search anymore. There are millions of people who are using TikTok to search for travel, for product recommendations, for teaching techniques. So the future is here. With that, of course, we've got to talk about community building and we have to mention paid ads. Even though I personally don't use paid ads, Zach Spuckler is a great one to follow for that. So is Jenzea DiMartile if you're looking for someone to help you set up your ads. She focuses on ads for teacherpreneurs. I've also heard really good things about Tracy Morgan's courses and memberships. We want to make sure we're doing things that are fun and align with our values, align with our personality and strategic, yes, but also we do need to look at the data, and really looking at the data doesn't just mean the metrics on posts and click throughs. Those things are important, but we want to look at the qualitative data too. What are people saying? What is the sentiment? What are people feeling about the content? Do we have connections with our audience members in our community? Do we know who they are? Do we feel good about it? Are we tired? Are we on a content creation system and schedule that's doable and sustainable for us? These are all things we need to consider. And what's so cool is that AI helped me create this episode. It helped me figure out how I wanted to organize my thoughts, how I could put things in a bulleted list. So let me know what you thought of it. I'm changing up the format a bit. You can send me a DM on Instagram over at Brittany Verlenich to share your thoughts. You can also come to the live training again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Mountain, 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern with Brittany Long, where she's taking a deep dive with us, free training on how we can use AI to grow our businesses to 100K plus in revenue. That's $100,000 a year in revenue plus as solopreneurs. That means without having big employees, without having a big team. In fact, if you wanted to never hire someone and just have a whole bunch of AI bots and chat GPTs running your business, you could. But again, that goes with knowing yourself, knowing what you want out of your business, knowing what your values are, all of that. And if nothing else, if you're not sure how you feel about AI, come watch, listen to her, glean what you can, and then make your decision based off data. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Social Media Magic Podcast. Again, my name is Brittany Verlenich. I'm a content strategist, social media manager, total marketing nerd, and I'm glad you're here. Talk soon.